Welcome inside our studios here in Atlanta. It is game time. Good to have you start another week of the NBA season. Casey Stern, Candace Parker, the Hall of Fame, Zeke, Isaiah Thomas. This is fun. There's a lot going on. We've got games, smiles. You know, see now she's smiling.
Hey, come on,
I'm smiling.
Yeah, we happy.
All right, not because I'm here, but you know why we're happy, because we've got a big game. Western Conference, everybody trying to kind of figure it out. But before we get to that, let's talk about what we can't figure out, shall we? Our buddy John Schumann puts up the power rankings and had a better New Year's than we had, did he not, Zeke? So I'm putting my glasses on. So
he was drinking a lot of that
What
Sherlock
is missing
champagne.
here from this picture?
The Golden State Warriors?
Yes!
Has he heard of a guy named DeMarcus Cousins? I'm just wondering.
Now, if this was Trivial Pursuit, it would be like Sports and Leisure. It would be like, what is wrong here? Is anyone in the right spot?
I'm betting his house on this one.
Anyone?
No. No. No.
You can get John Schumann on Twitter and at NBA.com. Meanwhile, Denver and the Rockets going at it. Nikola Jokic early.
Nikola.
How about some bully ball?
Too little.
Oh.
You too little.
PJ Tucker, mouse in the house.
And I love that the referees didn't call an offensive foul. When the little guy down there guarding a big guy, he should get housed.
Harden, Capella, everybody on the Rockets getting at it offensively early. Nice look to Tucker, who had 7 threes, a career high. And then Harden. Candace?
Oh, my goodness. It was wet. It was wet on the floor, Casey. Check the leakage.
Where's that squeegee?
As my mama would say, got to be more careful.
That's an Up to the Rim nominee. You get that on Fridays with Smitty.
Got to
Man.
be more careful.
I'll tell you what, it makes it look easy. Look at a continuous stretch of 35 or more every game. Lead at the break was 10. Rockets extend it. Oh, we had Trivial Pursuit before. How about triple word scores? We got a lot of those. There's Tucker in the corner. 21, all from 3. And then Capella, who, look, career high with 31 points and 9 boards. We never seem to give him the credit he deserves.
He doesn't. And his ability to finish around the basket, those weren't dunks.
No.
These weren't alley-oop dunks that Chris Paul or James Harden was throwing him. He was finishing in traffic with touch.
For Harden, a 3 is pretty much a dunk now. And then Capella says, point guard, no problem. I'll steal it from you. Thank you very much. 125-107. They win at 125-113. Injuries, yes, but resilient. Give them a ton of credit. Game of the day coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday. The streak of 35 a game is over, but Capella gets his career high and a career high 7 threes for PJ Tucker, who talked to us via Arena Link on GameTime about everybody fitting into their role.
Every night here is different. The way James is rolling, you just kind of fill in spots. You know, everybody just do their job, play their role. He gets it going. He gets our offense fueled. So, one night you might get 10, 11 shots. One night you might not get but 1 or 2. But it's just playing the same way every single game.
Well, this is pretty good. How do you like the 3 teammates with 6 threes or more in the same game? Is there any category of three-point related anything that the Rockets don't have now really locked up in the record book?
Maybe with the asterisk of like 2 of your top scorers out, then 2 other people step up and hit more than 6 threes. Since we're going deep into
It's amazing.
NBA
Clay and
records.
Steph still got that,
individually.
13, 14.
Right.
Threes,
Maybe.
but I think I can't find one from a team.
It's amazing.
They may have every team record.
You know, I wanted to kind of hit
Makes and misses.
a bunch of these. Let's start with PJ Tucker, Zeke, because you got to have glue guys to win championships in any of the sports. And you can have stars. And PJ Tucker is a guy who talks there about knowing his role as a coach and as a guy who was a star, who needed those players. How much do you enjoy hearing guys like that understand exactly what they're supposed to do to help the team on a given night?
You love hearing that from a player, not only understanding his role, but also having sincere enthusiasm and passion about his role and being able to emotionally give to the team where everybody can enjoy and support and be genuinely happy for James Harden. I heard no jealousy, no, well, I'm not the guy, but it's like everybody's sincerely happy that Harden is playing this well and that the team is playing well. And, winning covers a multitude of sins. So, when they were down and they wasn't playing well, I thought we would hear a lot more bickering, and we didn't. So that speaks a lot to the role players on the team and how they've handled stuff.
As the cool kids, I guess, would say, and Candace was cooler than me, so she would know. The only thing not in his bag right now in terms of Harden is a razor, because he's got everything else. And it's been talked about where he is now in terms of
when he shaved,
offensive
gonna jump out of
players.
some living in that beard. Some gonna jump out of there.
Type of power. That's what's
This is why Isaiah didn't want that issue. So I'll try not to have anything jump out here. But you talk about the offensive player. As somebody who knows how hard it is, the work you have to put in, both of you guys do, to get to that level, what is it like watching a player who's got that kind of skill set now offensively in Harden?
Well, I think early on, the basketball purists of the game said, you can't play isolation basketball and win a game. Mm-hmm. D'Antoni looked like a fool when he moved James Harden to the point guard position and basically gave him the keys to the offense. And in doing that, the floor is so spaced because he surrounded him with, three-point shooting, with his ability to play make. And that's the thing. James Harden makes the correct play.
Yeah.
He is not.
Yeah,
he's not selfish in the sense that he's going to take something that the defense doesn't give him. He goes in there, and Clint Capella benefits, and that's how you measure a great player. What do the players around you do? Are they raising their level of play? And honestly, PJ Tucker is having an outstanding year this year in itself.
Let me ask you this as we kind of close out this spot here with the Rockets. They've grown, but a lot of talk goes back to the offseason about losing some of that defensive prowess. If they get CP3 healthy and are as constituted, are they good enough to give the Warriors the trouble they gave them last year?
The Rockets will always have the question mark until they actually do it. They've knocked at the door a couple of times, and they didn't open it, right? CP3, James Harden, those two as individuals have knocked on the door a couple of times. This whole window of opportunity that we talk about, it's been there for them a couple of times. When do they step through and when do they grab the trophy? And until they do that, there's going to be a question mark. And, they're great in the regular season, but let's see the playoffs.
All right, nothing jumping out of beards on set, but we're all jumping out of our seats watching this guy play basketball because Freak and there aren't enough names.
He's got the Freak in his beard.
Although the unis maybe not exactly as nice as his game. Kyrie is back. What does it mean for the Celtics in Uncle Drew's return? We'll take a look.
About the Spurs and what's made them so effective in this stretch as we take a look at their first 25 games as opposed to their last 15.
Well, for me, the biggest thing is the defensive rating is they've played so well. I'm always amazed when Pops can get a bunch of slow guys, Mike, to play deep. When your bigs are slow, it's hard to have really schemes that work because they're always got to be in sag in positions where they're covering small amounts of the floor. But Pops finds a way to get those guys to play good defense. Every time I watch them play and they play good defense, I'm like, how does he get these guys to do that? But their defense has impressed me. And then they're shooting 5 percentage points better offensively. And in a game where you shoot 100 shots a game, you're making 5 more. I mean, they are taking better shots and taking and making better shots as a team. And he figured out the defensive blend and the offensive blend. Pop's doing a tremendous job. Give him credit.
It's been a juggling act for him the entire season because he had to decide, how do we want to play offensively now? We lose Danny Green, you lose Kawhi, you lose Slow-Mo, and you've lost some key pieces, okay, to their offense and to their defense, the experience part. He brings in some new guys. Wait a minute, I've got to figure out how do I best use DeMar DeRozan, and DeRozan has to figure out what's a San Antonio style of play. Pau Gasol has played 10 games so far this season. Rudy Gay has played 35. He's had some key injuries to guys, so he's been juggling and mixing and matching and trying to find the guy that can be a shot maker on a given night. It used to be Patty Mills that would come off the bench, and I'd look at the box score right away. I'd look to see what Patty Mills did. If he played well, they would win the game usually. Now they've got another guy, okay, who makes some shots coming off the bench, who Forbes was a knockdown shooter all of a sudden, taking Patty's spot on certain nights.
Yeah, Bertans makes shots from the three-point line, doesn't come inside that too much. And the thing I like about him, we talked about this, Mike, earlier a little bit, is, you know, he tells his good shooters to go ahead and shoot a lot of threes. He tells the other guys, hey, look, Pop said, we're going to ease up a little bit on just firing threes up there. Drive and kick, get in the paint and pass it out. You can take threes late in the clock, but don't take them early. Let's not settle. Let's just keep attacking. And I think every time the ball gets in the paint, it puts so much pressure on the defense, Mike, that, you know, you get fouls driving the paint, but those kick-out shots, when you get in the paint and you throw it out, everybody shoots those better. There's more rhythm on that shot.
What I love about Pop is he goes against the grain a lot of times from the standpoint that he doesn't just do what the hot thing to do in the league is. You remember the year back before he won the series against Miami, they shot a lot of threes and won games by shooting threes. Yep. Then they got to the Miami series that year, moved the ball better than we've ever seen in a long, long time, and that became the new thing. Let's pass the ball quickly. And then he goes back to this kind of team, which is pieces and parts, and he puts it together and plays to what the players' strengths are, what they can do, and this is how we're going to play. We're not going to play the way the league wants us to play.
That's one of the things that he told us as we had the Spurs on TNT on Thursday night. Our broadcast team had a meeting with him prior to the game and asked how it is that he's been able to maintain the Spurs system when the league has gone in such a different playing style direction. And he told us exactly that he's not going to go in that direction simply because the league has, but because he's going to find the strengths of the personnel that he has. He doesn't have the Golden State Warriors roster, so he's not going to make the San Antonio Spurs play the way that they play.
Well, when you have the ability to take your ego and sit down with your best player and say to him, what am I doing wrong? What can I do different? And it turns the entire thing around with LaMarcus Aldridge, where you had a guy who wanted out, wanted to leave, and now winds up getting back to playing like it was the Aldridge from Portland, because the coach is willing to sit down and say, what am I doing wrong, and how can I make or use you better?
Yeah, and he didn't say I'm going to take DeMar DeRozan and turn him into a three-point shooter coming up. He lets him ISO, but he ISOs off of action. He'll have a pin-down action to a curl, open up the side, and let DeRozan go to work. So he allows his guys to be who they are inside of his system, because, you know, he just doesn't come down, throw you the ball, and all four guys stand on the other side. They have movement inside of their offense. So when DeRozan is ISOing, it's really often he's coming from the weak side corner with a double pin down action to the top, opening it up for his left or right hand drive. And so they use actions to get him into his ISO. And I think he's done great. And, you know, that's one of those weird deals. It doesn't happen in our league a lot. It's happened a few times lately where both teams really benefit from the trade. Like, I just think Kawhi had to get out of San Antonio. That just wasn't going to work. He goes to Toronto. They're, you know, leading the Eastern Conference and playing great basketball. And DeRozan is helping the Spurs kind of turn their whole season around and become a whole different team that plays a little differently than Pop's teams normally do, but still very effective.
Well, we're going to be back with more on an 8-game Monday night in the NBA, including Blake Griffin. You just mentioned Bertans. Well, unfortunately here, this is a low light, not a highlight, as he gets bumped a reverse dunk.
We didn't say anything about his defense, though. We said he shoots the ball. Yeah, exactly.
That's a fair point by you. Well, the NBA on TNT is Thursday night with a doubleheader, starting with the Celtics in Miami to take on the Heat at 7 Eastern, followed by the Thunder in San Antonio to take on the Spurs at 9:30. Your coverage starts with Game Time at 6 right here on NBA TV. Look at this. Look how happy DeMar is to see Coach Casey prior to this game.
Yeah. Good to see that. Dwayne's a really good man. I like him.